Hello everyone, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. Today's episode is about a television moment that began as a routine career retrospective and ended as something closer to a reckoning, raw, unscripted, and impossible to dismiss. At the center of it is Yaman, a Turkish star whose workload across Europe has kept him living out of suitcases and on call sheets more than at home. The program promised a calm look at his professional evolution, influences, and craft. Instead, under the patient pressure of a perceptive host and an audience alert to the slightest shift in tone, the conversation curved, quietly at first, then irrevocably, toward the chapter many viewers have never stopped asking about, Demet Özdemir. The studio energy changed before the words did. Camera seemed to hum a little softer. The audience settled. The host asked a question that did not seek scandal so much as closure. What place do old feelings occupy when the present is so loud? Can paused. Not performatively, but like someone weighing the cost of saying a thing out loud after years of keeping it between the lines. When he finally spoke, the sentence landed with the clean force of something long rehearsed in private. Demet, he said, held a space no one else ever quite reached. And there was something he never told her. If he had said it back then, everything might have blown apart. He couldn't carry it any longer. It was not a declaration crafted to trend. It was a confession that sounded unprepared to be a confession. The host waited. The audience did not move. You could feel the show crossing a threshold that studios cannot engineer, the point where a career story becomes a human story. When the host asked to follow up, gentle, but precise, Ken took another step. He admitted that his feelings had not vanished even as schedules multiplied and projects expanded. He said he wasn't there the way he should have been at a moment that mattered to Demet. He suggested that a new presence in his life had scrambled what felt stable. He did not offer names. He did not dramatize. He let the words stand without props. Viewers around the world felt the tremor in real time. Feeds lit up. Clips were carved from the exact second his voice changed shape. Hashtags stitched his name to Demet's as if time were a loop rather than a line. Some praised the clarity, seeing in it a belated act of honesty that dignified a history both actors had largely refused to monetize. Others warned that truth told too late is a sharp instrument, capable of reopening what had finally begun to mend. The disagreement was not hostile, it was weary, the kind of argument people have when they care about the people inside it. Inside that first wave of response, another wave formed around Demet herself. According to those who know her rhythms, she felt the weight of being brought back into a narrative she had deliberately stepped out of. Boundaries are part of her toolkit now, hard-won, carefully held. Filtered reports suggested fatigue, not fury, a request that the past be respected without being turned into a showroom piece whenever the news cycle thins. The subtext was easy to read, yes to gratitude, no to relitigation. The broadcast's final act held the moment that will be replayed in montages for months, an apology that wasn't promotional. Ken did not promise what he couldn't promise. He did not reach for metaphors big enough to hide in. He kept his verbs plain. Regret, acknowledge, admit. He regretted causing pain. He acknowledged that the inertia of public life can make personal decisions look like public property. He admitted that time is not always patient with those who need long run-ups to say simple things. The camera came close and stayed there, not as a trap, but as a witness. Around every public figure is a ring of secondary characters whose silence or speech can tilt a narrative. In this case, attention drifted to Guldım Yaman, Can's mother. In the past, her voice had arrived at pivotal moments. This time, it did not. The quiet drew its own commentary. Would she step in to shield, to steer, or to step back entirely? The not knowing became a subplot, a reminder that even off-camera, families absorb the vibrations of what is said into microphones. If you want to understand why this particular segment detonated across timelines, look at the mechanics of modern attention. Algorithms respond to friction, between what was and what is, between private knowledge and public speech. A sentence resonates because it tugs at a shared memory, a look suggests magnitude, a pause is read as confirmation. Producers plan, agents advise, but live confession is a variable no one fully controls. That is why the safest part of a disclosure is often its aftermath: statements drafted in daylight, damage assessed, boundaries redrawn. The dangerous part is the live minute when a person chooses a noun and cannot take it back. Where does Demet stand inside this cross-current? Likely where she has stood for a while, anchored to work, guarded about private context, unwilling to turn affection, past or present, into currency. Those who know her speak of an ethic that prizes clean exits and quiet loyalty. If she chooses to respond, it will be on her terms, in her register, and without the bait of point scoring. If she does not, silence will not be absence, it will be authorship. And can? Confession does not erase a ledger. It does, sometimes, clear fog. From the outside, a career looks like a string of immaculate launches. From the inside, it is often a series of triage decisions: what to deliver, what to defer, what to abandon for sanity's sake. By admitting what he failed to carry, he risks being read as late to his own clarity. He also risks something better: being read as a person who refused to accessorize with denial. The industry will take its cue from the work that follows. If his next performances deepen rather than harden, this moment becomes context, not stain. A word here about the ethics of transparency. Honesty offered to the camera is not the same as honesty offered to the person concerned. One cleans a public slate, the other repairs a private bond. Viewers are not jurors, and celebrities are not defendants. But as an audience, we can model the restraint we ask of the people we watch. Demand less proof and more perspective. Reward the craft more than the confession. Recognize that some scenes belong off-screen, not because they are shameful, but because they are living. Our community is global: Madrid and Barcelona, Mexico City and Buenos Aires, Bogotá and beyond, and your reactions have already traced a thoughtful arc. Some of you called it restorative to name aloud what was always implied. Others asked whether sincerity that arrives with ratings can ever escape the shadow of strategy. Both lines can hold some truth. Two things can be true at once: a confession can be genuine and also land at a convenient time. Motive is a mystery that belongs to the person who moves. There are practical questions ahead that only time can answer. Will there be a private conversation that removes the cameras from the equation? Will Demet choose to speak with the clarity that has been her hallmark? Will another name, friend, partner, colleague, surface as context rather than intrusion? And what of the families, who tend to carry the fallout long after the feeds calm down? The responsible position, for us and for you, is patient curiosity. Watch what people do after the clip stops looping. Before we close, a note on how stories like this burn through the attention economy and what can be saved from the fire. The healthy impulse is to translate feeling into form, register as support rather than as spectatorship. Celebrate boundaries when they are drawn. Decline the invitation to invade. Remember that kindness scales: one respectful comment becomes 10, becomes a norm. Turkish Spotlight Secrets will keep returning to this and other stories with a commitment that does not go out of fashion, separate what can be verified from what can only be guessed, and talk about people as if they might read what we say. Because they might. If this approach matters to you, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and consider joining as a member so we can keep investing time where it counts, in context, not just clips. Tell us in the comments how you read Can's words: reparation, strategy, or simply a truth that arrived late but arrived. Tell us, too, which figures you want spotlighted next with the same care. We are listening, and we answer as often as we can. For now, here is the responsible summary. A star with a loud present named a quiet past. A woman committed to boundaries felt the weight of being pulled back into a public frame. A mother chose silence where commentary once lived. The rest is choice: how they choose to proceed, how we choose to watch. Not every moment demands an ending. Some demand room. Thank you for watching Turkish Spotlight Secrets. We will follow what can be followed and protect what must be protected. See you in the next video. Take care, and goodbye.